Today, I'm taking you on a journey through the history of England, a story shaped by invasions, kings and queens, revolutions, and cultural transformation that helped shape the modern world. England's story begins long before it was called England. Thousands of years ago, ancient peoples lived on this land, leaving behind mysterious monuments like Stonehenge. These stones still stand today, silent witnesses to a world we can only partially understand. Rituals, astronomy, and early belief systems lost in time. But recorded history really begins when the Romans arrived in 43 AD. Under Emperor Claudius, Roman forces invaded and occupied much of Britain, building roads, cities, baths, and defensive walls. London, then Londinium, emerged as a key settlement. Roman law, engineering, and culture reshaped the land. For nearly 4 centuries, Roman Britain was connected to a vast empire stretching across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Yet even Rome could not hold forever. Around 410 AD, Roman forces withdrew, leaving Britain fragmented and exposed. Trade collapsed, administration weakened, and local tribes were left to govern themselves in uncertainty. What followed was a time of migration, conflict, and transformation. Groups known as the Anglo-Saxons and Jutes arrived from Northern Europe. They settled, fought, and slowly merged into new kingdoms. It is from the Angles that the name England eventually comes, meaning land of the Angles. Over time, these groups established powerful kingdoms like Wessex, Mercia, and Northumbria. This Anglo-Saxon period was not only defined by war, but also by cultural development. Christianity spread across the land, bringing monasteries, written records, and learning. Old English began to take shape, laying the foundation for the language spoken today. But stability didn't last. Beginning in the late 8th century, Viking raiders from Scandinavia began attacking coastal settlements. These raids were swift, brutal, and often unexpected. Monasteries like Lindisfarne were destroyed, shocking Christian Europe. Over time, raids turned into invasions, and large parts of England fell under Viking control. The struggle between Anglo-Saxons and Vikings defined this era. Towns changed hands repeatedly. Armies clashed across rivers and plains. It was a fight not just for land, but for survival. One figure stood out in resistance: Alfred the Great. As King of Wessex, he reorganized the army, built fortified towns known as Buzz, and even promoted education and literacy during wartime. His leadership laid the groundwork for a more unified England, even as Viking influence remained strong in the north and east under the Danelaw. Slowly, over generations, a fragile unity began to emerge. But that unity was tested again in 1066, a year that changed everything. When King Edward the Confessor died, without a clear heir, multiple claimants emerged. Among them was Harold Godwin's son, crowned king in England, and William, Duke of Normandy, who believed the throne was promised to him. William assembled an invasion force across the English Channel. In October 1066, at the Battle of Hastings, 2 armies met in one of the most decisive battles in English history. After a long and brutal fight, King Harold was killed, reportedly struck by an arrow, and Norman forces prevailed. William the Conqueror became king. The Norman Conquest reshaped England completely. A new ruling elite replaced the old Anglo-Saxon nobility. Castles rose across the landscape, symbols of control and power. The Domesday Book was created, documenting land ownership in unprecedented detail. French became the language of the court, deeply influencing English vocabulary for centuries. As centuries passed, the English monarchy grew more powerful, but not without resistance. In 1215, rebellion forced King John to meet his barons at Runnymede. There, he agreed to the Magna Carta, a document that limited royal authority and established the principle that even the king was subject to law. Though not immediately effective, it became a foundation for constitutional government and individual rights. The medieval period also saw a long and costly conflict with France. The 100 Years' War stretched across generations. England achieved famous victories, like Agincourt under Henry V, but ultimately lost most of its French territories. Still, these wars shaped English identity and nationalism. At the same time, internal struggles reached a breaking point in the Wars of the Roses. Two rival houses, the House of Lancaster and the House of York, fought for the crown. After decades of instability, Henry Tudor defeated Richard III at the Battle of Bosworth Field, becoming Henry VII and founding the Tudor dynasty. Under the Tudors, England underwent dramatic transformation. Henry VIII broke away from the Roman Catholic Church after the Pope refused to annul his marriage. This created the Church of England, placing religious authority under the monarch and permanently altering the country's religious landscape. Monasteries were dissolved, land redistributed, and power centralized. The 17th century brought turmoil once again. Tensions between monarchy and parliament escalated into the English Civil War. King Charles I was defeated and executed, shocking Europe. England briefly became a republic under Oliver Cromwell, a strict Puritan regime that reshaped society. But the monarchy was restored in 1660. Later, the Glorious Revolution of 1688 cemented parliamentary supremacy. William of Orange and Mary II accepted a constitutional monarchy, where the power of the crown was limited and governed by Parliament. This system became a defining feature of modern British governance. As England entered the 18th and 19th centuries, it became a global force. The Industrial Revolution began here, transforming society forever. Steam engines powered factories, railways connected cities, and mass production changed daily life. People moved from rural villages to rapidly growing industrial cities like Manchester and Birmingham. Wealth increased, but so did inequality and harsh working conditions. At the same time, the British Empire expanded across continents, becoming the largest empire in history. England was at its center, shaping global trade, politics, and culture on an unprecedented scale. England played a central role in both World War I and World War II. Cities like London endured bombing campaigns during the Blitz, yet the country held firm. Winston Churchill's leadership became symbolic of resilience during its darkest hours. After World War II, the British Empire began to decline. Many colonies gained independence, and global power shifted. England transitioned into a modern welfare state, rebuilding cities, expanding education, and modernizing society. In the decades that followed, England continued evolving, becoming more diverse, more urban, and more globally connected than ever before. Today, England is a country where ancient history and modern life exist side by side. Roman walls stand near glass skyscrapers. Medieval castles overlook busy highways. Shakespeare's legacy lives alongside modern music, technology, and innovation. It's passed from ancient tribes to global empire, from conquest to constitutional democracy, continues to shape not only its identity, but the wider world. And that's the story of England, a history not just of a nation, but of ideas, power, resilience, and transformation across centuries. If you enjoyed this journey through history, make sure to like this video, share it, and subscribe for more deep historical stories from the past.